Beatty stars as Dick Tracy, the comic strip hero come to life in this summer's challenger to Batman. We'll be reviewing Dick Tracy and Another 48 Hours, the new Eddie Murphy-Nick Nolte movie, on this edition of Siskel and Ebert. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. And our first film is Warren Beatty's eagerly awaited film of Dick Tracy. And I was startled when I first saw it because this is not really, first and foremost, the story of a detective. Rather, it's a love story about a guy who happens to be a detective. Beatty plays Tracy as a contemporary man without a square jaw, not like in the comic strip, but as a workaholic caught between two women, Tess Trueheart, the dutiful good woman, and the vampish, breathless Mahoney, a nightclub singer who comes on to Tracy hard when he visits her while investigating a crime. Madonna plays Breathless.
I think Lips Manless is dead, and I want you to tell me who killed him. Or maybe you weren't on his side. Whose side are you on?
The side I'm always on. Mine.
No grief for Lips?
I'm wearing black underwear.
You know it's legal for me to take you down to the station and sweat it out of you under the lights.
I sweat a lot better in the dark.
The crime story in the film centers on mob boss Big Boy Caprice. Tracy's sworn enemy, played joyfully by Al Pacino. He looks like one of the Corleones crossed with Richard III and sounds like Pacino in And Justice for All.
I'm looking for generals! What do I got? Foot soldiers! I want Dick Tracy dead!
The film looks great, as in this shootout, which adds primary colors, blues, reds, yellows, and greens to a hail of bullets reminiscent of old Warner Brothers gangster films from the 30s.
Something's better than nothing. Yes!
The film looks just great. The weakest link in it, however, for me is Warren Beatty as actor, who plays a downsized, more contemporary Tracy, even though he's wearing period clothes, a yellow hat, and coat. The film is glorious to look at and a true invention, and individual performers, notably Pacino, are first rate. I just wish the crime story were a little tighter and that Beatty had played Tracy as more of a hero. Otherwise, it is a truly original creation.
I just want to have one point here. First of all, I don't think yellow hats and coats are period clothes. I think that that period exists only in the Chester Gould comic strip that Dick Tracy is based on. Well, but apart from that, Dick Tracy in the comics and in this movie is kind of something for the others to ricochet off of. Dick Tracy, to me, was always the least interesting character in the comic strip because he was always surrounded by these weird-looking, bizarre creatures. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is the use of makeup, especially in that opening poker scene and some of the other scenes where these really weird, strange-looking people come along, like Dustin Hoffman playing Mumbles, or Big Boy Caprice, whatever his name is. The Al Pacino inside that makeup and inside that costume really steals the show. It's a fabulous performance. But what I like most about the movie was how it creates an entirely different world for us to look at. And what I'd like to do right now is take a very specific look at Dick Tracy's original movie world. Let's look at a scene where Tracy follows the kid back to a tar paper shack he lives in with his sadistic mentor in crime. A scene that really shows off the special effects and art direction of the movie. What we're looking at here is a completely artificial creation that exists only within a movie studio and only within the imaginations of the people who made this film. This is not a real city. These are not real buildings. That's not a real horizon. These are not real interiors. These are not real exteriors. Nothing in this entire movie from beginning to end exists anywhere except in the imagination of Warren Beatty and the people that he's put together as a team to create this movie. The art director, the visual effects people, the optical illusion people, the mad artists. Everyone in this movie has worked together in order to create a new universe that doesn't exist anywhere except in Dick Tracy.
Maybe we should step outside.
Ever since I first started going to the movies as a kid, I've always loved films that go to the trouble of creating a completely new and original world for their stories to take place in. Even if it was only a movie about gigantic grasshoppers and you could see that they were only knocking over cardboard skyscrapers, that was fun for me because the whole movie was made up. And that is the special quality and the special innocence of Dick Tracy, that the sets, the costumes, The primary colors, the backdrop, the makeup, the special effects all take us into this new world that we've never seen before.
Well, it reminds me of Robert Altman's creation for the movie Popeye, where it was more physical set building that was truly spectacular and created a world. I liked, in that film, I liked Robin Williams' Popeye. Here, I didn't care for Beatty's Tracy, and I'm wondering what you think about that.
I think I know what you mean, and that the character is not real dynamic, and the character is not really out there. It's almost as if Tracy is the brunt of the plot, and he's the victim of everybody that's trying to pull him this way and pull him that way. Maybe you would have preferred a Tracy who was a little more active.
Well, would you? Yes, absolutely.
The movie is exactly as it's made, and it seems to me that
they all are.
Yeah, it works fine this way for me.
No, I wanted a guy to take a little charge. He's insecure. He seems to be more contemporary. It seems to be more about Warren Beatty than it is about the guy in the comic
but that's
strips.
legitimate. I mean, I think maybe
it's legitimate.
that's why Warren Beatty wanted to make this movie.
I just don't
maybe
think it's that interesting for that on that aspect. I still think the picture is extraordinary as a creation of film.
Okay, coming up next, Torn Apart, a love story